An elderly homeless veteran was bleeding to death inside a hospital. But instead of saving him, the CEO gave one heartless order: throw him out, he can't pay. Everyone stepped back, except one brave nurse. She risked her career to save a stranger's life. And seconds later, the CEO fired her in front of the entire staff. But what happened next shocked the whole hospital. Because that homeless veteran wasn't just an ordinary man, and one unexpected visitor was about to destroy the CEO's life forever. It was 2:15 a.m. when the automatic doors of Riverside Memorial Hospital slid open. Heavy rain pounded the streets outside. Ambulances came and went. Nurses rushed through the emergency room, and exhausted doctors fought to save lives. Then security guards noticed an elderly homeless man collapse just outside the entrance. His clothes were soaked. His face was bruised. Blood slowly spread across the sidewalk. One guard checked his pockets. No insurance card, no wallet, just an old military ID. The guard sighed. Take him somewhere else. Inside the hospital, Nurse Emily Carter overheard the conversation. Without thinking twice, she ran outside. She knelt beside the old man and checked his pulse. It was dangerously weak. "He's crashing!" she shouted. The guards hesitated. "The CEO's policy is clear," one replied. "No insurance, no treatment." Emily looked into the man's tired face. His hands were covered with old scars. Around his neck hung a faded military dog tag. She whispered softly, "I don't care what the policy says." She grabbed the stretcher herself and rushed him into the emergency room. Doctors immediately began CPR, stopped the bleeding, and stabilized him. Minutes later, his heartbeat returned. Emily smiled with relief. But that relief lasted only a few seconds. Hospital CEO Richard Collins stormed into the ER. His expensive shoes echoed across the floor. He glared at Emily. "You disobeyed my direct policy." She stood silently. "You treated someone who can't pay." Emily answered calmly. "I treated a human being." Collins laughed coldly. "You're fired." The entire emergency room fell silent. Emily slowly removed her hospital badge. She placed it on the counter without saying another word. She had just lost the only job keeping a roof over her young son's head. Section 2. The Man Nobody Recognized. Nearly an hour later, a black SUV quietly stopped outside the hospital. An older man stepped out, wearing simple clothes and a baseball cap. Nobody recognized him. He walked calmly to the reception desk. "I'm looking for John Walker," the receptionist replied. "He's alive because one nurse ignored hospital policy." The man's expression changed instantly. "And where is that nurse?" Emily sat alone in the hallway, holding a cardboard box containing her belongings. She was trying not to cry. The stranger walked toward her. Without saying a word, he stood straight. Then he saluted her. Every person in the hallway froze. Emily looked confused. "You don't know me," the man said. "My name is Michael Hayes. John Walker once saved my life." Emily looked toward the hospital room. "The homeless gentleman?" Michael smiled. "He's not just a homeless veteran. He's the reason 12 Navy SEALs came home alive." Emily couldn't believe what she was hearing. Michael continued. "John never wanted medals. He never wanted attention. He disappeared after the war. But heroes don't stop being heroes, simply because life becomes difficult." Within 30 minutes, luxury cars began arriving outside the hospital. Military officers entered. Lawyers followed. Then television news crews appeared. CEO Richard Collins watched from his office window. "What is happening?" he demanded. Michael entered the boardroom carrying an old military file. He placed it on the table. Inside were photographs from a classified rescue mission 25 years earlier. John Walker had carried wounded soldiers through enemy fire for hours. Among those soldiers, Michael Hayes. The room remained silent. Then Michael spoke again. "You judged a man by his clothes. You almost let an American hero die." Collins folded his arms. He couldn't pay. Michael looked directly into his eyes. "So money decides who deserves emergency care?" Then came another surprise. Michael revealed he was now the founder of one of the country's largest veteran charities and a billionaire investor whose foundation donated millions of dollars every year to hospitals. The hospital board suddenly realized who they were dealing with. But Michael wasn't finished. He opened another folder. Inside were financial records, emails, secret reports, evidence showing Collins had repeatedly refused emergency treatment to uninsured patients to increase profits. The board members turned pale. Federal investigators entered the hospital that same morning. They carried warrants. Computers were seized. Financial files were collected. Doctors quietly admitted they had been pressured to reject poor patients for years. The truth spread quickly. Television cameras captured Collins, leaving the hospital surrounded by investigators. His career ended before sunset. The board voted unanimously to remove him as CEO. Hours later, Emily received an unexpected phone call. The chairman asked her to return immediately. She walked into the conference room, still carrying the same cardboard box. Michael stood waiting. The chairman smiled. "Nurse Emily Carter, your compassion reminded us what this hospital was built for. We would like to offer you your job back." Emily politely shook her head. "I don't want my old job." The room became quiet. Then Michael smiled. "I hoped you'd say that." He handed her another envelope. "I recently purchased controlling shares of this hospital. I need someone honest to help rebuild it." Inside the envelope was a new contract. Director of Patient Care, double her previous salary, a full scholarship for her son, and complete authority to make sure no patient would ever again be turned away because of money. Emily's eyes filled with tears.
Several weeks later, John Walker slowly recovered. When he was finally strong enough to walk, Emily visited his room one last time. He stood quietly beside the window, wearing clean clothes for the first time in years. He held out his old military dog tags. I carried these through every battle. They reminded me why I kept fighting. Then he looked at Emily. But the greatest act of courage I've ever witnessed was a nurse who risked everything for someone she had never met. Emily smiled through tears. You would have done the same for me. John nodded. That's what heroes do. Months later, Riverside Memorial Hospital became known across the country for one simple promise. No emergency patient would ever be denied care because they couldn't afford it. At the entrance, a bronze plaque was installed. It didn't honor a billionaire. It didn't honor a CEO. It honored two ordinary people. One veteran who never stopped serving others. And one nurse who refused to let kindness be replaced by policy. Because in the end, true greatness isn't measured by wealth or power. It's measured by the lives you're willing to save, even when it costs you everything.